Yeah, squarebill fishing in the last few years has really become popular on the tournament trail. And of course, it was popular back when I started in '74. You know, I started in '68, but '74, when I won the Classic, I won it on a squarebill made by Bagley. They were one of the first companies to produce a squarebill crankbait. Since then, there's been numerous companies, produce squarebills, and they're just a fish catching machine. These little old baits, I mean, you can fish them around logs and stumps and laydowns and over shallow grass that's just barely under the water. And the neat thing about them is they attract a lot of strikes, and you can cover a lot of water with them. You can keep your trolling motor going and just get on a big old flat like I'm on right here and fish every log out here. Just throw it. You've got to be a good caster, and of course this rod helps a lot. Once you get used to using these fiberglass rods, they help you a lot. They'll make you a better caster. I can actually pinpoint my cast to where I want to come over a log that's just barely under the water. You can see these barely sticking out of the water out here. Just get a shot of these right in here sticking out of the water. What you want to do is make a cast over that log and come right over the top of it where the water's probably about a foot deep, you know, where the log's about a foot under the water there, and just bring that crankbait right over the top of that log, and that's where you're going to catch fish a lot of times. Today they don't seem to be on the logs. They're more out in the open water chasing bait and doing things like that. But you know, these things come in a variety of colors just like all crankbaits do. My two favorite colors are chartreuse and pearl blackback, chartreuse blackback and pearl blackback. They come in all different sizes. This is actually about a 1.5 inch bait. They come in 2 inch, 2.5, 3 inch sizes. Of course, if you know, depending on what the bass are feeding on that particular time of the year is how I determine which size crankbait I'm going to throw. Like at Table Rock back in May, they were feeding on bigger shad, and I found that I could catch bigger fish by using the 3 inch model of squarebill. And that happens many times, but there's also times that they don't want the 3 inch model, so you go to the smaller bait. This one will actually catch more fish most of the time, but a lot of time you're going to be contending with a lot of smaller fish. Not that it won't catch big fish, but you will catch smaller fish generally on a small crankbait, and you'll catch fewer fish on a big crankbait, but bigger fish. Most pro fishermen guys, you know, they learn early on in their career that if their arms are going to last for 40 or 45 years doing this, that you've got to learn to cast. If you're right-handed, you need to learn to cast left-handed. If you're left-handed, you need to learn to cast right-handed. Because again, there's times when I'll want to cast left-handed, and times I want to cast right-handed, but it saves your arm. Doctor told me that years ago, and it's been something that I think I don't have tendonitis or bursitis that bad in either shoulder, and it's probably because I do cast with both hands. These shallow running crankbaits are basically used to fish some type of cover. Deep divers, you know, are the same way. I mean, they fish brush piles, the stuff that's 15 to 18 foot down under the water, where these we fish stuff that's fairly shallow. But you can catch fish out in open water if there's, you know, submergent grass, if there's grass under the water, say out in 6 and 7 foot, and the grass is growing 2 or 3 foot up off the bottom. Those fish will lay on the top of that grass, and you can bring this crankbait. It, you know, may not be anything visible above the water, but you look for cover though, cover opportunities, lily pads, or you know, you can fish these crankbaits. A lot of the average angler we can fish them in lily pads, and I can fish this thing in thick cover. You know, I can bring it through there. I'm going to hang some, but that's part of bass fishing, hanging. I mean, you're going to get hung up a few times. These little old squarebills are really good around docks, because those fish lay up under those docks and use it as shade, and there's a lot of bait fish around the docks, and they just get all around them, you know. Doesn't mean you're going to catch one on every dock, but docks are good places to catch them. But you have to be a real accurate caster. This is just like spinnerbait fishing. You got to throw that bait come right by the corner of that dock. See, that fish probably, if he's there, he's laying under that dock, and if you come right by that corner, he's gonna jump on it if he's willing, you know, if he's aggressive at all. He'll get that bait. Sometimes you catch them on docks over 50 or 60 foot of water. Doesn't matter how deep it is. They suspend under them.